me show you a bit of the strings, and then maybe after that we'll look at the other one. This is just going to be like 10 minutes, and I think we'll be fine. Okay, so I'm already sharing my screen, so let me just so you can see. So you want to look at strings. What is it? They are practically like factors. If you are working with factors, you would understand what I'm talking about in terms of strings. So if you look here, we want to look at what strings are in our programming. And so to be able to look at it, one of the packages which is required is the tidyverse. So we use tidyverse, and then sometimes we use string arrow, but tidyverse helps us a lot. So if you have a string, is anything that is in double quote or single quote. So when you have any word that is either in single quote or double quote, it is called a string. So I'm going to clear my screen here. So if I have if I put double quote here, and then if I type anything at all, it's a string. So I'm just going to say string 1. So like this is a string, so it will return. There are also instances we have more than one string. So you can have a whole sentence, but as long as it is in one quote, it is a string. Sometimes you can also have a single quote. We can also call it a string. Let me say single quote, a single quote. So it's also a string. So basically, this is what we can also have multiple strings. Like we can create multiple strings, just like we have one here. So to create multiple strings means not one. So you have to combine them. So you use a function, say C, and then you just put here. I can just put here, and then I'll just call any of them. So I'll call this one maybe string 1. Then you can go out of it, separate each of them, say string 2, then in that order. So these are multiple strings. If you enter, you're going to have your 2 strings which are there. We also say we have, there are also some strings which are natural, like they come with arrow base. So for instance, if I have, let's say latest, latest, if I run it, it should give me the alphabet. We can also have latest uppercase. So you just pick the uppercase, run it, that should give you uppercase, that's alphabet. You can also have month and dot. You can have the full name like this, and to give you the month of the year. We can also have month dot ABB, that is abbreviation, that should give you month in lower cases. We can also have something like there are other inbuilt strings that we can actually have them, and so you should know that. How do we check the length of a string? So I've already built some kind of strings which are here. Let's say that we have the length of the string. We simply use, if you use the length function, you're not going to get it. For instance, if you say length, the ordinary length function, and then you put month dot, then you abbreviate it. When you run it, you are going to get 12. But that's not actually the length. We're talking about strings here. So the length is supposed to be structure. This is the ordinary length of a vector. But we're not looking at vectors, we're looking at strings. I'll just put, you use structure, and that's called length. That is string length, like this. And then we should be able to str. Then we have this. And that's called length. I think the reason why we are not getting it is because we have not loaded the package that works with it. So I'm going to load a package which is called a tidyverse. Just run it to load it and just straight away. So yeah, it's loaded now. You can clear your console at this point, and you can come again. Then this time around put I think is structure, and that's called length. So that should come. Now when you put month dot ABB, then you run it, it should give you that each of the string is having, let's say, 3 letters. That's why you see 333 in all of them. We could, if we repeat the same thing, but this time around we change here to letters. Here, no letters. So it should give you 1 1 because each letter is only 1. But if I decide to pick the length here, or if I say structure or string length here, if I put a function and I just put, let's say, I can just put all the names that you can think about. So if I put a name like that is a string, I come out, put another one there, and that is going to give me, then I can come out, put another one, let's say like this, so banana, then in that order. So if we run it, so I think I made a mistake here. So we should have had C here, and then that should be a vector. So before we now come here, close it, go to this side, and close it again. Oh yeah, right. And so run it. So this time I should give you the length of the string. So it means the first string has 4 letters, and then the last 2 has 6. Then in that order. That is how strings work. That's how we create them. Creating multiple strings, I've already mentioned that to you. Then we have something we call combine. We can combine different strings, right? For instance, I just created a string momentarily. So I'm just going to copy this here. And then how do we combine strings? You just have underscore C, that is underscore C, like this. That's a combination. So if I put this inside, it will combine all the strings. Maybe I could give it a separator. If you have a separator, it will tell you how you want them to be combined. If I put this double quote, if I leave space, it will leave space between them. If I leave space, it will combine all of them just the way we wanted it to look like. And then it will combine them. So let's say I was expecting, okay, let me close it one more here. Combine it, I think unexpected symbol. Somewhere I can't figure out where it is. Okay. All right, so I think if I remove this, so we want to combine these particular strings here, and then we want to combine them with, no, I was actually expecting, so I can pack it into a vector, and then we can now combine it just like the way we were having. So I think I should remove the vector sign and leave. I think that is where the issue is coming from. So I should come here and then remove this last 2. Then, so this time around, I don't know where. Yeah, there's another one here. That's where the error is. Then we run it. So it has combined all of them into one word. We could have combined the string and say we want spaces between them. So it will combine them with spaces. We could have also combined the string with, let's say, underscore. Then leave one more space here. So it will combine the string with underscore. This is how we combine strings. Very important. Now we've already looked at how to check the length of a string, and then we can combine 2 or more strings. That's what I just demonstrated. And then I've also demonstrated this. You can actually combine the string to using anything at all. For instance, if I had come here, I could remove the underscore and put the hashtag. So it means between the strings, you're going to find hashtag there. So you see there will be hashtag in all of them there. And that is, so you can combine it using the separator the way you want. And so we can equally combine strings using the if statement. If for instance, I'm just going to say you can pause the video and look at it briefly. So let's say I have assigned something to someone. I have assigned another thing. I've assigned. So I can use if else statement. if you want to understand if else statement, I have a video, separate video for that. Then you can look at that as well. And so when we finished, we are combining it using if. So we are saying that if birthday is true, we should add this. And then when you run it, we are simply just combining. So we would have created, we've created somebody's name, assign it to a variable called name. Then we can create this as well. We created another one, birthday. And so when we are combining, we'll say good, instead of now bringing maybe money. Money is already an object held by this variable. So we just bring the variable name and then in that order. But we get to the birthday, we had given a boolean, which is true or false. And we say true. So we are saying that if birthday, what boolean was assigned to it, if it is true, we should print this statement. If not, it will not print anything. So when I come here and I run the whole thing, you should see good morning, hallelujah, and then happy birthday. If I change the boolean to false, you won't find that again. And then create that variable again, and then we run this, you only see good morning. You don't find the other part of it. That is how we use if statement in strings. We can actually replace a string with this or something like that here. So I have my string here. So let's say string combine or so we are combining the string with this, and then we can, it's the same like the combination I was talking about here. The collapse is the same as the separator. If you want, you can combine the strings using different collapsing arguments. Now, this is the part I want to demonstrate again. We can extract part of a string. So let's say that if I say, if you have string underscore, that is called, what is it? You are looking at it's like a substitution. Like, so that becomes a function. And then if I have a string there, and let's say, let me just use any animal that I think, or let me say umbrella. Like that's a string, but I want to pick part of it. So if I say 1, you cannot pick 1. See, if I run this, you see that it's inconclusive. So you place escape, and then so if I go back here, you want you say 1, you have to indicate 1 doesn't make sense. But if you say 1-1, it means you are picking the first letter of the string, so it will print only U. Oh, I think something is missing somewhere. Okay, so let me put this again, and then this is what we were talking about. I'm coming here and I'm going to put 1 there. Yeah, so 1, it will just print the entire thing, the entire string. So let's try, and then let's say we put 2 there. It will exempt the first letter and print the rest. I think so. If we put 3 there, it will exempt the first 2 letters and print the rest for us. This is one of the ways we extract strings. But what about if we want to print only the first letter? So we just come here and say 1 is to 1, and then it will print only U. So if you want to print the first 3 letters, you just have your string and you say 1 here, I think 1, and then the second one. So you are printing from the first letter to the 3, then in that order. If you wanted to extract the letters and they are not in order, you have to use a combine function. Or so you could have said, you bring this inside and say, I want to print the first letter, the third letter, and then let's say the 5th letter. So that way it will print them in this order. So it will print the first one, the whole umbrella, print the second one, umbrella, and the other one, Ella, then in that order. Like that's what I have explained earlier. And then there are different ways to which you can extract your strings. So here we just created a vector like this. So I think I'm just going to run it. So the vector is there. So let me always clear the console. And then we say that I want to extract part of it. So if you say, if I'm extracting, if I say str, that's the string sub, we are subtracting or subsetting, and then we put the vector that is holding it, so we separate it by a comma, and then we say 1, comma 3. So what will happen, it will go through all the strings and then pick only the first 3 letters and print all of them. What about if we reverse it? So here, if we had said here negative, you can just play around with it, and then I think negative, then it's going to print nothing. But if we had to reverse this to 3, and then we reverse this to 1, then it will print them from the other side, from beginning, from the last coming backwards. And that is how we extract strings. You may not see the relevance for now. So go along, you will see them. So here, modifying strings. So we can actually modify strings. We can change the whole string to anything at all. So here, let's assume that we have a string which is x here. So and we are saying that we are selecting the first letter. Okay, so if we're selecting the first letter, that's 1:1, and then we close it. What are we now going to do with it? So we selected the first letter. We want to replace it with something else, right? So I can just have some assignment operator and say that the first letter, we are replacing all the first letters in all the string with, let's say, WW. So when we do like this, or sorry, WW is a string itself, so it has to be like this, WW. So that way, now when you print the string, if you now print X, you should see that all of them start with WW. This is how we replace it, and then in that order. So the same way, if we can say, okay, we just copy the entire string here. All right. Oh, sorry. And then we say we assign something new. We assign the same string to it. So I'm just going to paste here, but we are now assigning a new form of the string. What is the new form? We are saying that to underscore lower, and then we close this up, and then we can come to this side and close it up as well. So we are simply converting the first letters into uppercase. All right. So here it should have been string underscore to lower. So we are changing everything to lowercase. So here, and then when we change it, it will come and replace where they were initially. So they will no longer. So all the first letters will now be uppercase. We could have also said this to 3 or to even 4. Then we come here, change it to 4. We are saying that the first 4 letters, change all of them to uppercase. And in that, also when we run that, so if we print the string now, which is X, you should see that that has been done. To change all of them, just like, oh, I can change them to lower. So if you wanted upper, we could have said to just change this one to upper, string to upper, and then that's about all. And then that will give you upper, then in that order. That's how we modify strings. We can also sort it. We can actually sort our strings in order of alphabet, all right? So alphabetically. So to sort your string, we have string sort. So I'm just going to clear my console. And so we're going to have string underscore sorts like this. And then we put the X. But before then, let me print X and you see what is there. If we print X, you see this is how it was. So it's going to sort it alphabetically. So here, if I run this, it will no longer follow the way it was before, or maybe because we had changed the string. But okay, I have another string here, and so because it is the same variable, so if I come here and I have this, Okay, so if I should sort this up, so that should be string sort, string underscore sort, sort like this. Then you put X there. You should sort them in order. It will no longer appear like it was before. It will appear in a particular order, like alphabetically. And then that is how we can sort it. We can sort it according to any language. This is English, this is Hawaiian, this is French, then in that order. We can also match patterns within the string. Very important. Match patterns. So you have a string and you are saying this is like when you have a database of so many people. Like you want to find out who are the people with this particular name. So you just look for that pattern and then you you are able to sample all of that. So you understand that, let's say we have this, we've signed this. So let's say we have, and to use the function we use is structure review. I think I'm typing at a different place. So if I come here, say structure string view, that's a function. We put this one there and we say, what are we going to view? You put a vector that is holding the string, then you indicate your pattern. So I want to see anything that has an in it. It will print anything that has an. So you can see in orange we have an, banana we have an twice. Then that is how it is. That's how we check the pattern. We use pattern to be able to do that. So there are various ways through we do that. So here we're saying that if we want to match any pattern except a new line, we use this. The dot means anything before the A and anything after the A except the new line. So if we had come here and we put let's say A dot and then let's run it, you see that this time around it will even add pineapple because there is A here and then it will look for anything before A, anything after A except a new line, and that's how it is. The same thing we have here. This is A. Anything that falls between A and C is accepted, and so that is how we can also match backward slash, and we are matching the start of the string. So we're saying under that one we are saying that anything that starts with something. So let's say we have string underscore view, and then we have X here. So when we have double quote like this, then we have this symbol. Anything that starts with, let's say, P, then let's run that. We don't have. But if we have, let's say, uppercase P, so pineapple, it will anything that starts with P, it will print it. So when you have strings, let's say I have this, and then we can actually say underscore view. Oh, I'm always typing at a different place. So we have to clear this and come down a little bit. So we have structure, structure underscore view, and then if I put Y there, I can just come here. Anything that starts with B, print it. Maybe there's nothing that is starting with B there. So it's case sensitive, but if I do B, then you see that it will check all those that start with B. If you wanted to also check anything that ends with, I wanted to, so here, B. So anything that starts with B, so it will do the same thing. Now, what about anything that ends with something else? So that one you use dollar. So you want anything that ends with A. So I will say A and I'll say dollar. So it will print all those that ends with A. Anything that ends with A, it will print it. And so you can see that it has printed that. So that is how we deal with. So character classes and alternative. You can also check anything that start with a number and end with another one, or start with a character and ends with another character. So here we are saying that we want anything that has A or B or C. Here we want any with this one, we are looking for anything with this particular line. We are looking for any line that has either A or B or C. Here we are looking for the opposite, any line that doesn't have A, B, or C. So that's another way of extracting your strings, and then in that order. So I'll leave it here, and then I hope you've understood. The rest I'll just scroll slowly and explain. So we can check for CC, and then in that order. Here you can check the number of matches. So we are here, we are looking for C, but we are looking for anywhere we have double C, and then in that order, C and then something else, then in that order. So we can detect matches as well. Common words which are used, so like it's a package, then in that order. So we can see the rest of the strings that we have built. Okay, so this is how we deal with strings. We can extract our strings, uh, uh, take the video, pause it, and look at the code, and then try to practice it along. Thank you.